Ever stop to ponder how our ancestors discovered food? Picture this, a world where our earliest human ancestors roamed, with a cornucopia of unknown plants, insects, fruits, and seeds around them. They were our earliest food explorers, faced with the monumental task of deciphering what was safe to eat and what might be a deadly mistake. The initial reliance on a diet of plants and insects was a necessity. Fruits, seeds, tubers, roots, and insects were the most accessible food sources. Our ancestors were true foragers, relying on what nature had to offer, and their diet was largely vegetarian. But this wasn't a salad bar with labels and nutritional information. No, this was a buffet of the unknown, where a single bite could mean life or death. This was a time of trial and error, a dangerous game of culinary Russian roulette. Each new food source had to be tested, and the testers ran the risk of food poisoning or worse. The bitter taste of some plants, for example, was a warning sign of potential toxicity. But how many of our ancestors learned this the hard way? Imagine the bravery it took to take that first bite of a new food, not knowing if it would nourish or harm. The stakes were high, but the reward was survival. It's a chilling thought, isn't it? The food we take for granted today was once a mystery, a potential threat to our very existence. And yet, our ancestors took those risks. They tasted, tested, and learned. They began to understand the patterns of nature, the rhythms of growth and decay, the signs of a good meal or a dangerous one. They passed down this knowledge generation by generation, and it became a part of our collective human wisdom. The food discovery journey was fraught with danger and uncertainty, but our ancestors persevered. And through their daring and determination, they paved the way for the rich and diverse culinary world we enjoy today. So the next time you bite into an apple or crunch on a carrot, spare a thought for those early food explorers and their incredible edible adventure. From foragers to hunters, how did this transition occur? Imagine the prehistoric world teeming with life, a green carpet of nature's bounty covering every inch. Our early ancestors, primarily foragers, relied on berries, nuts, and roots for sustenance. But as populations grew and seasons changed, the availability of these resources fluctuated. It was then that our ancestors began to eye the animals around them, not just as threats or companions, but as potential food sources. The shift from gatherer to hunter didn't occur overnight. It was a gradual process, marked by the creation of tools and the development of strategies. Early humans began to fashion sharp-edged stones, the precursors to knives and spears, to aid in their hunting endeavors. They learned to coordinate, to track, to strategize, turning the dangerous game of hunting into a communal and shared effort. This was not just a change in diet, but a shift in lifestyle. Hunting required more than just brute strength. It demanded patience, planning, and precision. It encouraged cooperation and communication, leading to the development of more complex social structures among early human groups. The significance of this shift cannot be understated. The introduction of meat into our ancestors' diet had profound effects on our evolution. It provided a rich source of protein, essential for brain development and growth. It also meant that humans could survive in environments where plant-based food sources were scarce, allowing them to spread across the globe. However, hunting was not without its risks. The danger of injury or death was ever present, and the unpredictability of the hunt meant that food security was far from guaranteed. Yet our ancestors persevered, their resilience and adaptability paving the way for the diverse and abundant food landscape we enjoy today. Hunting revolutionized our ancestors' diet, marking a significant step forward in our food discovery journey. From the first crude stone spear to the sophisticated tracking techniques, the evolution of hunting mirrors our own evolution as a species, underlining our innate drive to survive, to innovate, and to explore the world around us. How did we go from hunting and gathering to planting and harvesting? Well, around 10,000 years ago, the final ice age had ended, and our ancestors found themselves in a world rich with resources, particularly in an area known as the Fertile Crescent. This cradle of civilization, stretching from modern-day Iraq to Egypt, became the birthplace of a revolution that would redefine humanity's relationship with food, the advent of agriculture. The first crops cultivated were a wild trio of wheat, barley, and legumes. These crops were hardy, nutritious, and, most importantly, readily available in the region. Our ancestors began to notice a pattern. Seeds dropped in a particular place would sprout into new plants. With this realization, the deliberate planting of seeds was born, and with it, the first steps towards agriculture. As time passed, these early farmers began to select and cultivate the most robust and bountiful plants, a primitive form of genetic modification that would eventually give rise to the vast array of crops we have today. No longer were they at the mercy of seasonal changes and unpredictable wildlife. They could now control their food source. Farming techniques also evolved over time. The invention of tools like the plow dramatically increased the efficiency of planting and harvesting, allowing societies to produce surplus food. This surplus in turn led to population growth and the rise of cities. It's fascinating to think how this shift from a nomadic lifestyle to a settled one, driven by the emergence of agriculture, has had such profound implications. It not only changed how our ancestors ate, but also transformed their social structures, their relationships with nature, and even their belief systems. The birth of agriculture brought about a new era of food discovery, enabling our ancestors to control their food source. It was a game changer, marking a significant milestone in humanity's ongoing journey of food discovery. How did culture shape our food discovery journey? That's a question that takes us on a fascinating global tour of our culinary heritage. Let's start in the East. In ancient China, food was not just about sustenance. It was a cornerstone of their culture and philosophy. Their yin and yang philosophy was woven into their cuisine. Yin foods like tofu and vegetables were believed to cool the body, while yang foods like red meat and ginger were thought to heat it up. This balance of flavors and temperatures is a hallmark of Chinese cuisine even today. Now let's travel to the Middle East, where the hot, arid climate influenced their food choices. In this region, people discovered the art of preserving food. They salted meat, pickled vegetables, and dried fruits to make them last. This led to the creation of dishes like pickled cucumbers and salted fish, which are still enjoyed in the region today. Next, we journey to the Americas, where the indigenous cultures discovered the three sisters: corn, beans, and squash. They realized that these crops, when grown together, complemented each other. The corn provided a structure for the beans to climb, the beans added nitrogen to the soil, and the squash spread along the ground, blocking the sunlight and preventing weeds. This clever agricultural practice not only provided a balanced diet, but also improved soil fertility. Finally, let's visit Europe, where the climate and geography varied greatly, leading to a diverse range of food discoveries. In the Mediterranean, the warm climate was perfect for growing olives and grapes. The colder northern regions, on the other hand, saw the cultivation of hardy grains like rye and barley. So, as we've seen, food discovery wasn't just about finding something edible. It was influenced by the philosophy, climate, and geography of each culture. It was about understanding the environment and using that knowledge to create sustainable and nutritious food systems. Culture, geography, and climate played vital roles in shaping our ancestors' food choices. When did we start cooking, and why was this a game changer? This is a question that takes us back to the early days of our ancestors, when the discovery of fire sparked a culinary revolution. The advent of cooking, believe it or not, began around 2 million years ago. Our early ancestors, the hominids, stumbled upon fire and realized that it could be harnessed for warmth, protection, and most importantly, food preparation. Fire acted as the first oven, grill, and stove all rolled into one. This was not just a culinary innovation, but a survival strategy that significantly changed our evolutionary path. Cooking made food safer to eat by killing parasites and bacteria. It also made food easier to digest. This meant that our ancestors could get more energy from the same amount of food. The extra energy helped fuel the growth of our brains, making us the intelligent beings we are today. Essentially, cooking was a catalyst for our evolution. But the impact didn't stop there. Cooking also broadened our dietary options. Foods that were once toxic or hard to digest could now be transformed into nutritious meals. This opened up a whole new world of food possibilities, allowing our ancestors to survive in different environments and climates. Moreover, the act of cooking itself fostered social interactions. Gathering around a fire to share a meal became a communal activity, strengthening social bonds and promoting cooperation. This laid the foundations for complex societies and cultures. And let's not forget the sensory pleasures of cooking. The process of cooking enhances the aroma, taste, and appearance of food, making it more appealing and enjoyable. This is why, even today, a lovingly cooked meal brings us comfort and joy. The invention of cooking marked another major milestone in our food discovery journey. It was a game changer that not only improved our health and survival, but also shaped our societies, cultures, and even our brains. So the next time you fire up your stove or grill, remember that you're partaking in a practice that's as old as humanity itself. How has our food discovery journey continued into the modern era, you might wonder? Well, the quest for new food sources and methods of production hasn't stopped. In fact, it's accelerated with the advent of technology and science. One of the most significant modern food discoveries is genetically modified organisms, or GMOs. Born from the marriage of biology and technology, GMOs are plants or animals that have been genetically altered to enhance desirable traits such as resistance to pests or improve nutritional content. For instance, the flavor savoir tomato, the first commercially grown genetically engineered food to be granted a license for human consumption, was designed to stay firm longer, thus reducing waste. But not all modern food discoveries are about tweaking what nature provides. Some are about creating something entirely new, like lab-grown meat. This innovation, also known as cultured meat, is produced by culturing animal cells in a lab rather than raising and slaughtering animals. It's a burgeoning field that promises a future where we can enjoy our favorite meat dishes without the ethical and environmental issues associated with traditional livestock farming. Then there's the realm of alternative proteins, where scientists and food technologists are turning to unexpected sources to feed a growing population. Insects, for instance, are being heralded as a sustainable, nutritious food source. And let's not forget about plant-based meat substitutes, which have surged in popularity and availability in recent years. Looking ahead, the future of food discovery is bound to be exciting. Innovations like 3D food printing and synthetic biology could drastically change our diets and the way we produce food. Imagine a world where you can print your dinner at the touch of a button, or where yeast and bacteria are engineered to produce milk without a cow in sight. Ultimately, the goal of these modern food discoveries is not just about finding new things to eat, it's about creating sustainable, ethical, and nutritious food systems that can support our ever-growing population and protect our planet. Our food discovery journey is far from over, with new foods and technologies continuing to transform our diets. From foragers to farmers, hunters to chefs, our food discovery journey has been long and complex. A never-ending saga, this journey has been punctuated by countless milestones, each one altering the course of human history and shaping our modern diets. Let's take a moment to recap, to appreciate the sheer magnitude of our culinary exploration. Our tale began with the dawn of food discovery, when our ancestors foraged for sustenance in the wilderness. They were guided by instinct and observation, learning to distinguish between nourishing and harmful plants, a knowledge hard-earned through trial and error, and sometimes, tragically, through the loss of life. Then came the first hunters, forging a new path in our food discovery journey. They honed their skills, learning to outwit their prey, developing tools and strategies. Hunting not only provided a reliable source of protein, but also brought about a sense of community, as people worked together to bring down larger prey. The emergence of agriculture was undoubtedly a turning point. As we began to understand the cycles of nature, we learned to cultivate crops and domesticate animals. No longer at the mercy of the wild, we could grow our own food, secure in the knowledge that we could feed our families and our communities. Our cultural influences on food discovery cannot be understated. Each region, each tribe, each community brought its own unique perspective to the table. They discovered new ingredients, invented new recipes, and developed diverse culinary traditions that continue to inspire and influence our modern gastronomy. Culinary innovations, from the invention of bread and cheese to the discovery of fermentation and preservation techniques, have been instrumental in expanding our food choices. These advancements have not only made our food more delicious, but also safer to consume and easier to store. And let's not forget the modern food discoveries, from genetically modified crops that promise to feed the world's growing population, to the exploration of exotic ingredients and fusion cuisines that continue to tantalize our taste buds. This journey of food discovery is not just about survival, it is about the evolution of humanity, the shaping of our societies, and the development of our cultures. It's about the shared experiences that bind us together, the celebrations and the rituals, the comfort of familiar tastes, and the thrill of new flavors. Our ancestors' quest for food has shaped our world in ways we may never fully appreciate. The food we eat is not just nourishment, it is a testament to our resilience, our creativity, and our relentless pursuit of progress. It is a reflection of our past and a glimpse into our future. It is a story of determination and discovery, of survival and celebration. As we continue to explore, to innovate, and to savor, let's remember the journey that brought us here. Our ancestors' quest for food has shaped our world in ways we may never fully appreciate. But one thing is certain, their discoveries have fed generations and will continue to do so for many more to come.